What's up, everyone, and happy Wednesday. We are halfway through the week and I could not be more excited because this week I have a lot of things going on. I feel like I have, not quite sure, if I mentioned this earlier, but I am interviewing for a promotion at my job or a higher up position at my job. So again, if you pray to Jesus Christ, drop my name whenever y'all talk next. Hopefully it'll be before tomorrow morning. So I've been nervous about that kind of, and then I've had a lot of other things go on, but God is still blessing us. He's always going to be blessing us. And with that being said, I'm actually going to hop right into today's video because I want to make sure I'm able to post a clip on Instagram, and for some reason it's been messing up. So anyway, our fruit. We are on our third week talking about our fruit, and this again is one of my favorite lessons or goal focuses that we've been going on because I feel like it's so very important, especially in this pandemic. Like, a lot of people have been talking about creating new businesses and things like that, and there was a meme out, or not a meme, but a post out that said something like, if you don't come out of this pandemic with a business or something like that, then you weren't doing it right. Which I feel like, on one hand, for the people that are, should be entrepreneurs, that's very important. Like, this is the time to really hone in on your businesses or, whatever your fruit is. But with that being said, whatever your fruit is, your fruit may not be a business, okay? Your fruit may not be a family. Your fruit may be those intangible things that we were talking about earlier this week and then the last couple of weeks. So, producing love in areas where love is not readily available, or peace, or joy, or just bringing a different mindset or a new clarity to certain situations. That is a form of fruit, okay? And that's fruit that people don't talk about, okay? But that is fruit. It's rare fruit, but it's fruit nonetheless. So this week we're talking about multiplying our fruit. And so similar to last week, we're going to talk about the how and the why. So last week we talked about how and why to labor our fruit. This week we're going to talk about the how and the why how and why you would want to multiply your fruit. First up, we're going to talk about the why, because I feel like it's very important a lot of times for people to understand why you would want to work so hard in order to multiply something, even though it kind of seems very obvious. And if you can hear my dryer in the background, I'm sorry. I have a very old dryer and it's loud. So if you can hear it in the background, sorry, I'm trying to overcompensate by speaking loud, but I don't know how that's working. Anyway, I was saying, a lot of people need to understand the why behind something. And granted, this kind of seems very obvious. Like, why would you want to multiply anything that you have produced, obviously for X, Y, and Z, but we're going to talk about it anyway. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about the how. So, the first thing that I want to say, and before we get into the topic, or before we really discuss the two main ways, or the two main reasons why you want to multiply your fruit, is really understand where God has you and what He is having you to do. And I think that's very important when talking about our fruit, because again, we talked about it last week. When you're laboring your fruit in order to multiply your fruit, it's very important to understand the season that you're in. Okay, because not every season that you're in, not every season or environment that you're in is the best season or environment to cultivate and multiply your fruit. That was a mouthful, so I hope you got it, because I'm not going to repeat it. And then understand what He is having you do. If He is calling you to grapes, okay, and you are trying to be an apple farmer, you're never going to, your fruit, you may be able to make an apple tree, but it's never going to be as abundant or as nourishing or fulfilling as it would be if you just followed the path of the grapes, okay? And yes, I did use real fruit because that was the easiest thing that I had, but again, it all goes back to your purpose. Understand what He is having you do, so that way when you are going to labor your fruit and it's time to multiply your fruit, you are making it so abundant that, there's an excess amount. There's more than what you could have imagined. So yeah, I wanted to say those two things before we get into the real reasons why. And the two main things that I kind of came up with were for sustenance, okay, to sustain you, and for provision, to help provide for you. And honestly, those things, I will make a disclaimer, you shouldn't look to your fruit for sustenance or provision. You should always look to God for that. However, if you understand where God has you and you're doing the thing that He has called you to do, your fruit is automatically going to provide some sustenance for you and provision for you. Okay, it's going to sustain you for wherever you're at now, and then those future generations or those future seasons that we've talked about already. And then it's going to provide for you again for wherever you are now or where you have to go. Sometimes, and a lot of times I talk about it in the Bible too. I think there was this one story actually in the Bible. And for my Bible scholars, don't quote me, don't be upset, because I don't know exactly don't know the exact story, but I know there's a story in the Bible. I want to say it's Joshua, but again, don't quote me, Bible scholars. Where God was having the people really work towards the harvest. So work and work and work and work so that they can reap all this harvest now, because years to come or in a few years down the line, there's going to be this there's going to be a drought, okay? And this drought is going to last for a really long time. So you better work now so that you can have it. So when the drought comes, you won't be, without. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of similar to, well, the point that I'm trying to make is, for sustenance and provision, a lot of times God may be have you in a season where you're working hard towards it now. Like you're working. You may not even see the immediate benefits of it, okay? But behind the scenes, you're working. You're slaving, you're striving towards an end goal, you're staying up late, you're doing all this, you're doing all that, or you're pouring out all of this stuff. It doesn't seem like you're getting it back in. However, continue to press and labor, and so that you can see a multiplication, or that you can see an increase when seasons of drought come. And a lot of people have said, this is not me saying this, but a lot of people have mentioned COVID-19, this pandemic. A lot of people have mentioned it in the same sentence of it being a drought, quote unquote, and maybe not use those exact words, but a lot of people have felt a drought period, whether it was financially, physically, they haven't been around certain people, so they feel very disconnected from other people, things of that nature. So make sure that when you come to seasons of drought, whether you're in a season of drought now or not, me personally, I don't feel like I'm in a season of drought. Even though there's a lot of things that are going on in the world, I don't feel like this is my season of drought. However, I understand that now, as I'm laboring and I'm working to multiply my fruit, the fruit that God has given me, I want to make sure that I'm doing it so that whenever I do reach my season of drought, if God is calling me to a season of drought, I still feel sustained and still feel like I have enough provisions for myself, my family, whether that's, my immediate family now or future family, future family. So that is the why behind wanting to multiply your fruit. Okay. Friday, again, we're going to talk about different ways of how to multiply your fruit. But again, just remember, if you don't take anything else from this, other than the fact that my pigtails are probably going 17 different ways, make sure you understand where God has you and what He is having you to do. Okay, that is important. That is very important in reference to your fruit. Okay, so if everyone has a fabulous Wednesday, a great Thursday. Again, if you pray to Jesus Christ, make sure you shoot up my name. I do have an interview tomorrow. So yeah, have a great day. Talk to you guys again on Friday. Bye.